So, Carrie, I know that you're the executive director of Our Home Transitional, but I know you started a couple years back. So, exactly, give us a little bit about your background.
Okay, I was born and raised in Flint and Burton area. Graduated at 17, and then I moved out of state. Worked and went to school for a couple of decades and came back to Michigan in 2010. And I happened to come back at really the worst time in my life and the worst time in Flint's history. But I'd always had the dream of doing something for women and children since I was very young. And that dream sort of evolved as I grew older. And everywhere I traveled to or lived, I'd always ask that question, to my higher power, is this the time? Is this the place? And, I never really got a response or any vibes or anything like that. So I just continued on with my life. And it just so happened when I come back here in 2012, I lost everything. And the kids and I had to get on the public aid. And it was very tumultuous. And I got into a deep depression, lasted for about 8 months. And I don't know, it's just one day I had the energy and strength to talk to my higher power again. And I asked that question, but in a different way. I said, why am I here? The worst time in my life and the worst time in Flint's history, because after GM, the half the population moved out of Flint when GM left. And I actually felt like the vibrations, and I heard a strong voice say that now is the time and here is the place. So it's like I just snapped out of the depression, started a full-time job the next day. I don't even know how I got it. I just did. I went and said I was going to do this, and I did it, and went back to school to the University of Michigan. And a few months after being in school, I went to the school's innovative incubator, which helps students with small business ideas, and told them my idea. And they, the business coach that I was assigned, we talked for quite a bit, and he mentioned, female veterans. What about working with them? They're a targeted market that, segment of the market that is expanding and not being addressed pretty much at all. So I went with it and just dove right in and did research and networking and planning and workshops, developmental workshops, courses, just everything that I could think of, the small business centers, SCORE.org, Michigan Small Business and Technological Development Center, any resource that I could find to learn how to do a nonprofit organization, how to start my own business, what were the statistics for female veterans in need, and pretty much built the organization within about a year and a half. And at this point, we have a pretty good group of board members, and we're on our way. We just need to raise the funds to purchase the home, and we'll be all set to go with the program. Right now, we have a couple pilot programs going on where a sister organization has provided a couple of homes for us, for two of my clients, and they've gone through the program, and they have successfully transitioned into jobs and school, and are living in, very comfortably. So that's a good thing.
So
it shows that the program works.
So Our Home Transitional actually helps them with jobs and acclimating back into society after they come back from being deployed?
Yes. Our mission is to provide transitional housing and services to homeless single female veterans. So that's our primary focus. So not every female comes back, out of the military and is in need of any type of outside help or services. But there are some who do, and that's why we're there.
So, starting a business is enough struggle, but how was it trying to start a nonprofit? Because I know that's definitely a whole nother, strategies and struggles.
Yeah, it was just a lot of asking, a lot of networking, a lot of researching, and I happened to meet an attorney in one of the classes or workshops I was taking on starting your own business, and she was starting her own business, an online attorney type service, and we became friends. And as an attorney, she helped me with my bylaws, my articles of incorporation, applying for the 501c3. I had received a seed grant from Kettering Entrepreneurial Society here in Flint, and that helped pay for filing for the 501c3, and along with the website and attorney's fees that, for her to do all my bylaws and articles of incorporation and so on. So it's just a matter of, reaching out and due diligence and really having the passion and the desire to accomplish your goal, your dream, really.
So, Carrie, you're still in school as of right now, right? You're still wrapping up your senior year?
Yeah, I'll be graduating in December with my BA in psychology, and then I'm going to get another bachelor's in social work.
And you have two daughters, 17 and 7.
Yep. Charlie and Lexi. Charlie's about ready to graduate from high school, and Lexi's 7. Just a little rambunctious, hard to handle 7-year-old.
And you're the founder and executive director of Our Home Transitional. So basically my question is, at what point do you sleep?
Well, I don't. I mean, probably, there's often times where I'll take a day or two every 3 weeks and just rest and sleep. But I mean, I don't sleep much. Pretty much, you just don't, and you can't really. I mean, you're running. Anybody who runs their own business will pretty much tell you that. And I have been able to, I recruited a wonderful administrative assistant, and we're both unpaid at the moment. But she helps me a great deal, and if I didn't have her, then I'd probably be dead right now because of all the stuff that needs to be done and things that need to be, going to keep the business and maintain, administrative stuff.
Do you have a full board?
Yeah, I have a full board. We are looking for a board chair. I've been kind of the board chair and executive director, but that is going to have to change once, at least before even, I'm a paid executive director because, of course, can't be both the board chair and executive director. But I have a vice chair that's been with me from the beginning. He's our housing coordinator. I have a secretary that's been with us from the beginning. He's a military veteran of 10 years. And I have a treasurer who's a student at the university, or not a student, she works at the University of Michigan. And she also has a degree in social work. And she's been with me for the last just over a year. And then recently I've added on my administrative assistant. Well, she's been with me probably for about 6 or 8 months. And then just recruited a board member who is the governance chair of the governance committee. And let's see who else I got on there. I just recruited another veteran who was the president of the Student Veterans Association of University of Michigan for a year and a half, and he's on board. Being a veteran and coming back to Flint and having a lot of the veterans' issues, he really knows how to navigate the system, and so it's a really great group of people that's come together. I've got a licensed social worker on the board. I have one of my clients who is on the volunteers with us and does comes to the board meetings and may eventually move into a board as a board member, voting member. Let's see who else I got on there. It's slowly been growing, and like most new organizations, you'll see a big turnover rate probably the first year or so as you're getting your feet wet and molding the organization and getting the right match and group of people involved. I have a lot of volunteers that help out with locating statistics, doing surveys. I'm actually interviewing a potential grant writer on Friday, so I'm excited about that. And I think we have another veteran that serves on our board. She's been with me from almost the beginning, and she helps with grant writing and going to different events in the community to promote the organization. And that's pretty much it. And then, me, the executive director.
Now, before you went to school, came back to Flint, and then, before that, what was your background? I mean, I know you said you had a desire to help women, but what did you do before?
I worked in the corporate industry as an administrative assistant type, executive secretary, office manager, pretty much that realm of the industry, corporate industry, and I did that for about 20 years. I worked when I first graduated high school with the airlines for about 4 or 5 years, and then moved on to the corporate industry, like I said, doing office managerial, executive secretarial type stuff.
So you're in your 40s, moved to back home.
You still with me?
Can you hear me? So you're in your 40s.
Yeah, we're breaking up a little bit.
Okay. Let me go back. So you're in your 40s, you came back home, and then you decided to go back to school and get a job and also start a nonprofit all within 6 months? Because that's what it sounds like. All this happened within the first 6 to 8 months.
After I got out of my 8-month depression. Yes, then all that happened within 6 months.
So what challenges did you find that was different for nonprofits? Because I know even getting a 501c is a big challenge in itself.
Well, the biggest challenge is funding, getting funding and fundraising, and, trying to work with having a family. A lot of stuff I work at home, and, when the kids come home from school, they want mommy, and mommy still has to, work, and then, days off school, and sometimes weekends. So there's a lot of late working because I, have to definitely take out time for the family.
So how many homeless, how big is this problem? I know I've heard information, on TV, news, that, there's quite, not just female, but just quite a few vets that come home that are actually homeless. They're not getting the services. So how big is this problem for female vets?
And according to the Michigan Homeless Coalition, in Genesee and the surrounding counties, there's over 150 homeless or about to be homeless female veterans that have sought help and indicated they were veterans. So we know the numbers are much higher. Women tend to, female veterans tend to, women in general tend not to seek help. There's different pride issues with women than men. Not better or worse, but just different. I think a lot of that has to do with the maternal aspect. But a lot of women won't go and seek help, especially if they have kids, because they're afraid their kids might be taken away. And then we have the other issue where they don't indicate that they're a veteran for fear of, being turned away from an agency and being told, to go to the VA then, when they probably already have and have gotten as much services from them as they can, and it's still not enough. So that's what's happening right now. So the numbers are definitely growing. They've doubled nationally from 2006 to 2010, and that's probably the most recent studies that have taken place. It's very, very hard to find statistics on female veterans, simply because, it is a bigger segment and it is continuously growing than, of course, it has been in the previous decades.
And is that because there's more females in the military necessarily, or is it because there's lack of benefits? What is creating such a huge problem with homeless veterans? There's definitely an increase in women in the military. A lot of the issues that are causing the homelessness amongst female veterans
would be, well,